Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, a quiet revolution that's happening in our schools. It's all about a big shift away from just memorizing stuff to actually understanding it. So let's dive in and see how this is all playing out.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? The night before a big test, you're cramming, you're trying to force all these facts into your head, and you just know that the second you walk out of that exam hall, poof, it's all going to be gone. Well, that whole cycle of cramming and forgetting, that's exactly what our education system is trying to fix.
So, what we're really looking at here are two completely different approaches to learning. On one hand, you've got the old way, memory-based learning. It's all about recalling facts. It's the what. But on the other hand, we have this new idea, competency-based learning. And this is all about understanding, thinking for yourself, and using what you know to solve real problems. It's the how, and more importantly, the why.
Now, you should know this shift is no accident. It's actually part of a massive nationwide plan. Think of it like a huge software update for our entire education system. And the engine driving this whole transformation is India's National Education Policy from 2020. This is the official game plan, the blueprint that's designed to finally move our schools into the 21st century and make a clean break from a system that's been in place, believe it or not, since 1986.
And when you look at it side by side like this, the change is just crystal clear. The old system was all about rote learning and those huge, high-pressure final exams. But the new policy, NEP 2020, totally flips the script. Now the focus is on really understanding ideas, on continuous assessment, and on tearing down those old rigid walls between things like arts and science.
And this whole new system is built on these 5 big ideas. It's not just about changing what kids learn, but making sure that every single student has a fair shot at a great, affordable education. These pillars are really the foundation for everything else.
So the big question is, how do you actually get this done in a real classroom? Well, it turns out the secret is in a really powerful tool for asking smarter questions, a way to get students, literally, to climb a ladder of thinking. It's called Bloom's taxonomy. Now, this isn't some brand new concept, but it's being used in a whole new way. Basically, it organizes our thinking skills into different levels, from the simplest to the most complex. The ladder for the mind is the perfect way to picture it. You got to start on the bottom rungs before you can make it to the top.
And here they are, the 6 rungs on that ladder. You start at the very bottom with just remembering basic facts. Then you climb up to understanding them. From there, you learn to apply them. As you get higher, you start analyzing how ideas connect, then evaluating different arguments, and finally, at the very top, you get to creating something totally new. The whole goal of this new policy is to help every student climb this ladder.
Okay, so let's see what this actually looks like in practice. We're going to take a simple question and watch how this framework totally transforms it from a simple memory test into a real test of thinking.
All right, here's a classic old-school biology question. We've all seen ones like this. It's 100% a memory test. You either know the name of the enzyme or you don't. This question keeps you stuck right on the bottom rung of that ladder.
So how do we get past that? How can we ask questions that show us if a student can actually think with the information they've learned instead of just repeating it back to us?
And boom, here's the difference. This is so cool. Using that exact same biology topic, we can start climbing the ladder. We can ask a student to apply their knowledge. What would happen if? We can ask them to analyze. How is this different from that? We can ask them to evaluate. Is this a good idea and why? Or we could even ask them to create something practical, like a diet plan. It's the same topic, but it's a completely different world of thinking.
So, what does this all mean for the actual exams that students are going to be sitting for? Well, this isn't just a theory anymore. These changes are happening right now.
In fact, major educational boards, like the CISS, which runs the ICSE and ISE exams, are already putting these changes into motion. This is a real-world shift that's going to affect millions of students.
And they're putting hard numbers on it. Starting in 2025, a full quarter, 25% of the questions on these board exams will be these new competency-based questions. That's a huge chunk of the test, and believe me, it's just the beginning.
And look at this. This shows they're really committed. It's not a one-and-done change. They're phasing it in. It goes up to 40% in 2026, and by 2027, it's going to be 50%. Half the exam will be designed to test real thinking skills. That's a serious long-term plan.
So what's the ideal exam of the future going to look like? Well, this blueprint gives us a pretty clear picture. You can see right away that remembering, simple recall, is down to just a small slice of the pie, maybe 15 to 20%.
The real weight, the bulk of the marks, is now on understanding, applying, and analyzing. It's about testing the full range of what a student can do with their brain.
And this quote just perfectly captures the whole spirit of this reform. The goal is deep and meaningful learning. It's making sure that students can actually use what they learn out there in the real world, not just copy it out of a textbook. It's all about moving from reproduction to application. And that's really the big takeaway here. When you boil it all down, this is so much bigger than just changing a few questions on a test. This is about investing in our future. It's about building a whole new generation of innovators, of problem solvers, of people who can really, truly think for themselves.
So that leaves us with one final, really important question to think about. If the finish line of education changes, if our exams start to reward creativity and real problem solving instead of just memorization, then how does the entire race have to change? What will a normal school day even look like in that new world? That's the exciting future this whole shift is pointing us toward.